good I am, or if I'm honestly good at all. But it is fun. It is fun. Speaking of fun, you know what else is fun? Here's the Storm. Here's the Storm is a fun game, and that's what we're going to be talking about um, tonight. Tonight we're actually going to be talking about a game that happened in the Cheer League playoffs. If you are not aware, Cheer League concluded Season 1 this past week. There was a pretty fantastic tournament that kind of went on to square things off. Bunch of teams went up against each other. The top 16 teams in Cheer League. The two teams on top were Shadow Brotherhood, and I actually forget what the other team's name was because it kind of came out of nowhere. I think it was Snipe Squad. Yes, it was Snipe Squad. I just wanted to make sure that I was not accidentally congratulating the wrong team, which would be pretty bad if you think about it. The last thing you kind of want to do is congratulate the wrong team that did not win. But yes, Snipe Squad won. They won in a series versus Shadow Brotherhood. Shadow Brotherhood I had followed previously, and they had done absolutely magnificent. Another team that did magnificent was Squirtle Squad. They also pushed pretty far in. And Blink's PvP. Yes, it is. Damn right, it's an Opeth shirt. I actually just bought tickets to see them in October, I think. My favorite band, by far. But anyway, yeah, it was a fantastic series of games. Squirtle Squad was the other team, though. They did not make it to the finals. I really actually expected them to make it to the finals, but they had to play Shadow Brotherhood. And I think Shadow Brotherhood outmatched them a little bit, and they won. Shadow Brotherhood ended up winning the series. It was, I believe it went to 3 games. I'm not 100% sure. I think I forget. It might have stopped at 2. I can't remember if they forced a game 3. But the games that they did play were incredibly close. No, it did not get forced to a game 3. I did just remember. It went to a game 2, but that was it. It felt like it was going to go to a game 3 because... So Squirtle Squad, if you don't know anything about them, if you don't watch Cheer League, one of the things about Squirtle Squad is Squirtle Squad was one of the top-ranked Cheer League teams. Obviously, they're playing in the playoffs. But very specifically, Squirtle Squad is like, they don't make sense. They're the least sense-making team that's ever existed in the history of Heroes of the Storm. They, like, do all the things that you probably shouldn't do, or they get farther behind, and then all of a sudden, like, a switch goes off in their heads, and they just play out of their minds for, like, a little while. And what we've seen when Josheb and I have casted them game after game is that they just, like, do that. Like, they'll just be behind, and then they'll win the game. And so they went up against Shadow Brotherhood, who were the number 1 seeded team in Cheer League. We were really excited for this game, and this is kind of what happened. This was game number 1. On Tomb of the Spider Queen. It was a very, very good game, but the draft is kind of where things started to get interesting, and that's where we're going to start today, talking about this draft. So when we typically talk about drafts in Here's the Storm, I feel like there's a couple things that we point out. First off, you want to point out what roles were taken, and I think the second thing is like what kind of band strategy was going into it. I don't want to spend as much time as I spent last week talking about the draft. Last week we could talk about draft strategy a little bit. I don't really feel like that's too necessary. If you missed that, you can go to the YouTube channel, by the way, youtube.com/Josheb Gaming. You can go there. You can see the last episode if you missed it, or if you want to do a little bit more draft strategy, general draft strategy. Obviously, we're going to be talking about a little bit of draft strategy, but really general stuff. Then feel free to go watch that video. Actually, I think the VOD is still on the channel too, so you can check it out there if you wanted to. But anyway, so Shadow Brotherhood, they had first pick here. First pick, first ban. You can see they banned out Li Ming first. Not a super strategic ban. They just did not want to play against Li Ming. This is probably a smart move, as Squirtle Squad has been pretty strong. Has been pretty strong when it comes to their Li Ming play. I don't know if they had seen that before or if they were just banning it out because Li Ming's strong in the meta. Either way, they banned out Li Ming. Squirtle Squad's response was to ban out Zagara. Squirtle Squad understands how important Zagara is more than any other team. I think in the few games that it looked like they were being super challenged, Zagara was facing them. They also play Zagara very well. So I kind of feel like their strategy is if we can't play Zagara, we don't feel like we're going to be able to pick up Zagara, then we're not going to we're not going to put up with that at all. And I understand completely. Following this up, Squirtle Squad decided to pick Tyrande. Tyrande and Diablo. Now, one of the things that we see in competitive Heroes of the Storm quite a bit at the pro level is you see either Muradin into Tyrande, which has been named Miranda by a lot of the other casters, or you see Diablo into Tyrande. Either one, the idea is the same. One person opens, the other person drops their stun. And so in this case, what typically happens is Diablo will toss someone over his shoulder, suplex them, then they'll get hit by Lunar Flare, and then they're stunned there. And all the while, Hunter's Mark is on them. They're taking a ton of damage. It's basically lights out for whoever you can get into this combo. Even after Tyrande's nerfs, it still lights out. Now, you don't see as much of it as you used to, but Squirtle Squad has played this combo quite a bit. And so that's exactly what they were going into here. And you can see that's what their pick was. Following this up, we had the Thrall and the Uther coming out of Shadow Brotherhood. Both Thrall and Uther, very strong heroes in their own right. I think that the idea here was maybe to counter and disrupt this kind of play with Thrall's Root, Uther's Stun, and you'll see how that worked out for them. And then, following this up with Falstad and Sonya, once again, standard stuff. Falstad is very strong in the current meta. The playoff tournament happened after the last patch, but not the patch that happened today, obviously. So Falstad, very strong, really popular in the current meta, has a high win rate on hot logs, just really good in professional games. Such a huge upside to him. He's picked up, Sonya picked up. Sonya got nerfed recently, but not a bad hero, especially matches well against Thrall when you're talking about melee heroes that can potentially die behind enemy lines. Makes a lot of sense. Then you have Shadow Brotherhood picking up Joanna and Sylvanas. There were other bans out there, Lunara and ETC. I don't feel like they're really worth talking about. Squirtle Squad did ban out ETC when they saw that Uther. I think the logic being that, you want to prevent them from being able to get the Divine Shield dance combo. So a very good ban on their part. And then Shadow Brotherhood finally, both picks that kind of round things out here, Brightwing and Sylvanas. Joanna was picked also. Joanna, don't really have a whole lot to say about her. Pretty strong pick versus the competition. Really good crowd control, really good ability to zone, and also, and this is the real reason I believe that Joanna was picked here, none of those things, really fantastic wave clear. Still, even after that was nerfed for her. So, fantastic wave clear, really good, really important on Tomb of the Spider Queen. We're going to talk about map strategy once we get into the game, but really important. Sylvanas also for similar reasons. Her silence works well here, as it does on every map, but really, she was picked for the power of wave clear, which is super important on this map, which once again, we will be talking about shortly. And Squirtle Squad, just to talk about the Brightwing, Squirtle Squad likes, both these teams really like the global presence that Brightwing and Falstad provide, but Squirtle Squad here is going to pick up Brightwing, value that a little bit more. Brightwing, good partner with Tyrande. Totally agree with this draft. Think both teams drafted well. Squirtle Squad drafted a little bit more for the late game. Shadow Brotherhood a little bit more for the early game. But, I don't know if I'd be really comfortable outside of some, I guess, the Janet and the Thrall pick. I'm really calling them super, super early game because I don't think Sylvanas really comes into her own now. Before the scaling changes, I think she was a powerful early game hero. After the scaling changes, I think that she isn't super powerful. But in the early game, at least, I think she's not overpowered, but super balanced and actually a really good pick in the late game. But that's it for the draft, so I want to get into this game, which we are going to do. So, tell me if the sound, by the way, is off at all. I don't know if it is. I don't think it is. I think the sound is probably fine. Not 100% sure, though, because last week people told me that it was actually a little bit loud. You can see in chat here, having a great time. Cherry League is basically all about this kind of stuff, which is why I like casting it so much. But, they're kind of just playing back and forth here. Both teams, as you're going to see in a little bit, are just going to meet up in middle in this kind of mid lane right here. They're just going to spar back and forth, not really trade anything immediately. What you're typically going to see as far as strategy on this map, though, is you're going to see a 1-4 split, where you're going to see the 4 kind of split in this lane, and then one person down here. Typically, your one person that's down here will also goaltend this turn in here. So you can see the team fight will begin here. They're just poking back and forth. Both teams are really focusing about clearing the waves. If they can pick up anything, then they'll pick up something. But the focus really actually isn't to pick stuff up so much it is to clear these waves as fast as you can. And you can actually see, just to pause for a second, right now it might not seem like a big deal, but Shadow Brotherhood, who are in blue, they actually have a huge advantage here. Right? They cleared this wave so fast that they're able to come up here and start on this wave, which is going to mean that they're going to be able to come down here and get this wave fast. But it also means that Squirtle Squad in red, right, they had to clear this wave before they can move up here to take care of this. This seems like such a small thing, but it's going to allow them to get like a super fast rotation. Because you figure, okay, so you beat them by like a hot second. It's not a big deal, right? But you just beat them by a second. They have like a 2-second advantage to get this wave. Well, they have the wave, they get the gems, they get the experience. They don't really have to linger here. They can either set up for a gank if they really wanted to. They can rotate somewhere else and try and catch someone as they're rotating. Just a lot of freedom just because you kill the wave faster. This is why Sylvanas was prioritized, or picked last, I should say there. Sylvanas might seem like a weird pick to a lot of people because she's not like a super bursty assassin or anything like that. The thing about Sylvanas that's really good though is early game, mid, late, doesn't matter. She's super fast at clearing waves. So you combine that with Joanna and Jaina, they have a team that's going to blow through these waves really fast, which is going to give them a lot of control. Gonna pop this though. And what you're actually going to see is they're going to come up here, and to try and counter this, they're actually going to try and do some damage to this tower. Now, you can see the advantage that killing that wave has allowed them to do. Sylvanas can kind of poke down here, won't stay for too long, and then they come back to this mid lane, and they're basically going to try and play a game now with Squirtle Squad, because they know Squirtle Squad hasn't cleared that lane just yet. They still have to go take care of that. Their minions have now met this lane, so now they're going to come up so they don't miss any experience. And you're going to see, this is where you're going to see a pretty big team fight right now. I'm going to pause this right as Sonya dies. Now, this is one of the things that a lot of people were kind of surprised by, because the idea here was, well, you know, Jaina gets picked off. Don't they have a pretty huge advantage? Well, what they had to do here in order to get that pick off is they had to get Diablo to suplex and then Tyrande to arrow on top of her to pull off that combo. But in doing that combo, there was such an overextension. You can see by Falstad in this kind of group right here. There was such an overextension here that it's going to lead to Falstad getting killed, and it's also going to lead to just everybody else taking a ton of damage. Likewise, while Jaina does die, and she does get picked off, it's... well, we'll just play it and see, right? Look at the trade that they're getting out of this. It's basically a 2-for-1 trade, which isn't so bad. But because Sylvanas is here, they can stay way longer than they otherwise would be able to, because she's not worried about these towers, and she's not worried about this minion damage. So just her with Uther are going to be able to take this down, which is once again going to allow them to rotate down to this mid lane and just do a lot of work. You can see these minions are pushing. Tyrande, just so you know, Tyrande is the worst lane clearer in the game, I think. I think Karazine might be tied with her, but Tyrande is really bad. And the thing is if she chooses to use all her abilities to clear, so she uses Flare like she did here, even if she Hunter's Marks and does all that kind of fun stuff, excuse me, that's a lot of mana to clear the wave. And while you can argue that it's worth it, it's just, it sucks. You don't want to be in a lane by yourself. You can see Sonya's coming up to help her. But because, you know, Falstad just died, had to flow back to chase out this aggression up here, this has left Brightwing by himself. Or herself. And you can see that means that, look, they can bring all this pressure down here. Uther gets the stun, gets a little body block, and kills Brightwing. Now, that whole play was simply because of the pressure that they had put up here a little bit before, right? Squirtle Squad was still responding to that pressure. It wasn't, you know, it's easy to say, well, like, oh, okay, they were just, you know, soaking or whatever. The reason why they couldn't aggressively clear this and then come and, like, kind of do the same 4v1 strategy that Shadow Brotherhood is doing is because just Shadow Brotherhood in blue once again, just clears their waves so much faster. They can rotate around and bounce around just so much better than Squirtle Squad. Up until this point in the game, all Squirtle Squad's really been able to do is just respond. And on this map, you can't be the person that's responding, because the most important thing is to clear those waves, because not only do we talk about the advantage in rotation, but remember, those waves contain the objectives. They contain the gems that the spiders drop. You get those gems, that's like the key to the map. Those stupid MacGuffins are basically the thing that you're going to turn in to get your spiders, which is like the whole mechanic, which is going to let you get more experience and continue to snowball, continue to get more coins, etc., etc., etc. So clearing these waves is actually the most important thing. Like, winning that team fight's a big deal, but that's actually not the reason why they're winning, right? They've gotten 2 more kills, but that's not the reason why they're winning. The reason they're winning is they're just able to kill these waves a lot faster, so they're able to rotate more. Or more aggressively, and just better, period. Now you can see Diablo's going to push up a little bit here, but he's not going to be able to get a lot done. Now they're going to split off here, and really, this isn't what they need to be doing. They need to be grouping up. All 5 of them need to be grouping up. They need to leave someone down here. Probably, I would say, maybe, you know, Taranda's not a bad choice. Brightwing's dead, so I guess that's their best scenario. But it kind of sucks. They really need to be grouped up and killing these waves together. I think Sonya doesn't, you know, they're going to sacrifice some experience, and that's what they're worried about. But as soon as you get broken up like this and you can't stay in that kind of death ball, it's just, things are bad. Because, I mean, look at this. They don't have to worry about this middle lane. Shadow Brotherhood doesn't. So they can kind of send Jaina and Joanna up here, and they're going to fight Sonya. And then down here, they can have this super huge harass, because, like, look at where their wave is. In comparison, they've already killed, you can see they actually just picked up a gem. They've killed this wave, so there's no reason, none, literally no reason for them not to have aggression here. Why not contain Tyrande, right? I mean, being in this lane really isn't going to do anything. So Joanna and Jane are going to come up here, clear this lane. Falstad's going to rotate up, sees the pressure, but realizes that, you know, they kind of see their plan. As soon as they pick up the minions, what are they going to do? Easy. They're going to come down here. It looks like Joanna has 18. She's going to get a turn in, but they're going to continue to rotate. Once again, doing that 4v1 strategy where they're keeping 4 in this box, and then they're sending people down here to gank whenever possible, though it is important to note, it actually is really, really hard to gank here because of these bushes specifically. Or I should not say the bushes really, but the lack of. This bush really isn't going to help you gank anyone, because if you're in this lane presently, you're going to be able to see them get in there. I mean, they're going to have to come through here or come through here, and that's just, this is a very narrow place. And if you're in this lane here, this is a lot of time to react, right? So unless you just get completely destroyed, their entire team comes out here, and you don't have any time to react, or you just have a really slow reaction time, you're probably going to be fine. Both teams just bouncing back and forth. Once again, Shadow Brotherhood just clearing these lanes so much faster. You can see Squirtle Squad doesn't really have a chance, and this is honestly why. They're just clearing these lanes. They have Thrall down here as their solo laner, and they're just solo lane, right? And you can see they're just, he's completely bullying Brightwing. Brightwing's not going to win this. That was a really good arcane flare, though. Then up here, because Squirrel Squad has to worry about splitting both of these lanes and they can't seem to group up, that's just allowing them to get these turn-ins in. You can already see they have a ton in. Falstad almost going to get caught out here. Diablo going to take a lot of damage and go down. Brightwing not going to teleport in time. Brightwing changes her teleport to Sonya. Sonya's still taking way too much damage here, and they're going to have to back off. Early game, just from Shadow Brotherhood, is just way too strong. They can't do anything about it. And once again, I know I'm repeating myself, but this is so important. If you take nothing away from this video, please let it be this. On this map, the most important thing, if you want to snowball a lead, it's simple, guys. Take heroes that have strong wave clear. Don't like base your entire comp around it, but like if you could throw Sylvanas in here, Zagara, Jaina, this is the map. Back in here, a little bit of fight for this turn-in. This is what Squirtle Squad needs to be doing. They need to be controlling this as much as they can. Turn that around. Unfortunately, this leaves a lot of pressure down here. Brightwing getting destroyed by Thrall. Uther trying to get a single turn-in down here. Tyrande gonna make it away just fine by using that arrow. But she is gonna go in a little aggressively on Joanna. Don't know if that's the right target. The most available target, so that's okay. You can see as this chase is going in, Jaina up top here was actually turning in a bunch of coins, getting that for them, and that's actually one of the greatest strategies here. If you know that you have the turn in, don't try and team fight for it. Just have your team delay, and then whatever one they're not fighting at, turn in there. Simple as that. Too many times I see teams trying for the big turn in, the big team fight. It's a waste. It's a waste, guys. Just distract them and get the turn in elsewhere. As the Web Weavers spawn here for Shattered Brotherhood, you can see that they're going to do a very basic strategy. Just going to let kind of group up where they can, where the weakest lane is, and just split things. Usually 3-1-1 is how you want to split things when the Web Weavers come down. They're going to be able to put a little bit more pressure out though, thanks to Sonya, and you can Sylvanas. Sonya though gets absolutely demolished here. I'm honestly not sure why she decided to jump in. I don't really agree with that whatsoever. Brightwing down here though is actually going to stay down here, defend this. I'm going to pause here once again. Brightwing is going to stay in this bottom lane. The logic being, right, they're behind, they need to catch up, they're behind a talent here. What do? You stick the person with a global presence in this bottom lane. Sure, take this down as slow as you can, or as fast as you can rather. It's going to be slow anyway, and you're going to have to fight through all. Don't die here, but just basically soak the experience that you can, try and do the damage you can. If you're needed for a team fight, you can teleport in. Squirtle Squad has killed the top one. They're going to descend on this middle fort to try and save it. Unfortunately, they're going to be a little bit too late. This Web Weaver is going to destroy it. Now you can see Shattered Brotherhood going to sneak out here and jump down. Excellent use of this middle passageway. They're going to be doing a lot of damage. Sonya here, this is really risky. Second time that Sonya has pulled off some risky business stuff, right? Probably should be with her team. Jumping out here, really not how you want to play Sonya. This is worth pointing out, actually, for those of you that are new to Sonya. As Sonya, you don't want to start the fight by diving in. You want to wait for your other tank to start the fight, and then as Sonya, you want to dive into the back line. If you're starting off the fight as the main tank, you're not going to be able to dive the back line. You're going to get easily controlled, and you're not going to have your maneuverability that you want, and that's unfortunate, as they're just easily going to be able to control you. You're not going to be able to use to your I guess your maximum potential, we could say. It's gonna suck for you, is what we're basically getting at. Sonya here, after that little risky business play, she plays safe, plays backs off, waits for her team. This is what you want to see. Brightwing's still here, but can teleport in if needed at any time. Falstad getting caught out here. Diablo also taking a lot of damage, kind of sacrificing himself. He's going to be right back in there, but still, don't know if they want to throw that experience away. It seems kind of silly to me. Wasn't really traded for anything. Don't think that was really worth it. Even though you can get back in the fight as Diablo, you have to make that trade worth something. You're still worth experience. Brillin trying to sneak a turn in here is not going to get it in. Sylvanas going to stop it. Sylvanas here, just pinging a little bit. Sorry, I forgot to get water, and my mouth is super dry, but we're gonna make it through, I promise. A little bit of a fight here. They actually managed to kill Thrall here, just eliminate him. Thrall getting a little too gutsy, and this is the other thing that I want to point out here. 6 minutes into this game, you can see it's a longer game, but Squirtle Squad is down by 2 levels, and so what I imagine that what has happened to Thrall here is he's getting a little cocky. No reason that you'd ever be up this far. He's pushing with these mercenaries, which by the way are total garbage. I honestly think the minions are worthless on this map. The boss is actually pretty worthless too. The boss only, I think, becomes decent after level 16, and honestly probably not until close to level 20, when it's a win the game scenario, when you can get a turn in and the boss at the same time. Unless you can really do that, meh. Shadow Brotherhood here, just kind of poking in and out, picking up experience. You can see they've done a ton of damage so far. They've taken down 2 structures, this fort, this bottom fort too, just pushing in a lot. This is also one of the things I want to talk about in this game, is just the lane pressure that now Shadow Brotherhood is putting out on Squirtle Squad. They have minions, except for this top lane, pushing up basically this far and this far. This is really difficult because Web Weavers are only as efficient as far as they can push. So when they come down, they're on a timer. right? They're on a timer. And so if your waves are pushed up this far and say Squirtle Squad gets the web weavers, when they drop, they're going to face minions, and that's going to mean that it's going to be a shorter amount of time that they're going to actually be on these structures, and that's not good. That's not what you want. So, like, having this pressure up in your face like this is not what you want to happen. Squirtle Squad, though, doing their thing. Gonna come up here, kind of whiffed that a little bit. Could have had Joanna, but that's fine. Now all of a sudden the Ring of Frost is out. A huge turnaround. Diablo gonna take a ton of damage. He's actually gonna go down here. Duranda also taking a lot of damage. She's gonna go down too. As soon as Diablo goes down, they die basically at the same time. Brightwing getting caught out here too, and is also going down. Basically a disaster at this point. I'm pretty sure in chat right about now, everyone was calling this game saying Squirtle Squad was going to lose. They didn't have a chance in hell. As this is going on, you can see Falstad and Sonya were basically soaking. That wasn't necessarily a wrong move by them. Durand and Diablo should have never engaged this, I don't believe. I think that was a silly engagement. I honestly think they should have let them have it, which sucks, but when you don't have that talent tier, when you don't have a level 10, you really don't have a choice. Now this is also bad because, as you can see, they have a bunch of coins. They have a bunch that they've already turned in. They're holding on to a bunch, yeah. I wanted to see who actually has them. Joanna has a bunch. That's basically worst case scenario. Though they are going to try and pick up minions before they turn them in. This is kind of a mediocre, it's kind of sandbaggy if you ask me. I would rather see them, I think, turn in, ignore the minions. Those minions I don't really believe are going to be part of a huge push here. Normally not something I would say. I would think the minions would be worth it. But honestly here, I think it would have been better for them to get the turn in. Now Jane is playing really aggressively. Unfortunately, they do not have vision. This is something else that's really important about having waves pushed up or not having waves pushed up. Right? Yeah, you never can count someone out. That's what we're going to be getting to in this game. But you can see, right? Look at where the vision is. The only place that Squirtle Squad has aggressive vision is right here. Everywhere else, the vision is here. And that basically means that even though Brightwing, Diablo, Tyrande, they all can see that Jaina was pushed up here, they have no idea where the rest of their team is. And they can see, by the way, and you can always see this, that they have the gems, they know they can turn in. And the reason they haven't turned in yet, they could be anything. Could they be maybe going for boss? Could they maybe be preparing something else? Could there be a gank or something? And so they have to play a lot more cautiously because they don't have that vision. And you can see for that reason, they don't even bother to chase this Jaina. You can see Tyranna's owl actually just kind of passed through here. It did see this, but it didn't matter. It was way too late. They're actually going to take a ton. They're going to get that turn in, rather. Get a big turn in. They still have some coins left. Not a whole lot. Now, at this point, Squirtle Squad actually wants the team fight. That might seem weird, but they want this team fight because, hey, they're not the 13. Shadow Brothers are the 13. They're not going to be there for a while, so they have to force something. Thrall, though, gonna pause this right here. That's actually a beautiful Sunder, believe it or not, right? They had a pretty good setup here, but the combo of Thrall and the combo of Uther, just being able to, Thrall can throw his ult in and Uther can throw his stun in, really makes it hard to land those combos as Tyrande and Diablo. So you see Falstad gets picked off in the back line. That Ring of Frost certainly helped with that. Tyrande can't really do a whole lot here with her arrow. Colin's going to go down on Sonya as well. Brightwing getting chased over there. Diablo getting chased right here. Diablo gets blown up. This is basically a disaster for Squirtle Squad because you have to remember, guys, right? Now they just got even on talent tiers with them, and now all of a sudden Shadow Brotherhood up to 13. They have the talent tier advantage. This looks really, really bad for them. It's only 8 minutes into the game, and they are going to be pushing the fort wall in every lane. This is a worst case scenario. You can see they have a ton of pressure in this top lane. Usually, at this point in the game, it's not. You usually don't see a 5-person push like this, but why not? Now they were up just for a short second, about 4 levels. Huge advantage. Why not push this keep? That's exactly what they do. They're going to push this keep and then push out. Now, another thing about Shadow Brotherhood, if you watch Cheer League and you saw their play at all, typically Shadow Brotherhood plays really conservatively, so even them sticking around, this is showing a little bit of cockiness on their part. They believe they have this in the bag, and honestly, any team, this is, if you look at this level difference, if you look at the structure difference, the kill difference, I can't blame them, is what we're getting at here. Good move on Tyrande, checking the boss with the owl. It completely would make sense that they would go for that after such a huge advantage and with such a level and talent tier advantage, but they do not. Instead, they're going to go and invade here. Really, though, they're actually going to set up a little bit of a gank. Tyrande's owl misses it, and now Squirrel Squad actually is going to get a little bit of vision of them with that. They know they're there. You can see that they're just starting to rotate down now. The Gust in there, they're just trying to hold Jaina back. Jaina, though, playing really aggressively. Once again, this is cocky play. This is because they think they have it in the bag, which is a mistake. They get completely destroyed. Now, all of a sudden, Squirrel Squad has a little bit of an advantage here. They're going to try and push it best they can. They don't have a whole lot. Uther sticks behind, though. Joanna using her ult, using Blessed Shield to kind of stall them. And now, all of a sudden, we have a team fight. Now, this team fight is not good for Squirrel Squad. By all means, this is a bad team fight for them to be in. They have the advantage, but Falstad actually isn't in this team fight yet, right? They are down, or Shredder Brotherhood is down a player, but it's kind of evened out by the fact that, once again, they have that talent tier advantage. And they've been chasing for a little bit, right? And for all they know, they're basically running into their demise. Also, they know the only ult that they have left is Brightwing's Blink Heal, which isn't, that's not a big ult. That's just basically a regular ability, that you pick at 10. And Sylvanas has her ult, and Uther has his ult, and Thrall has his. So this isn't a great fight. This is not a great fight. But as you can see, as they dive into this, there's the Sundering, Tyrande taking a lot of damage, but Thrall not able to get into the back line. Divine Shield has to go out on him. Sonya taking a lot of damage. Brightwing teleports in just in time to give her a little bit of shield. Diablo does go down here, but Sonya going hard with very little HP is going to be able to get down Thrall. Sonya is going to fall in that melee. Now it's Quillen on Brightwing, the Flowmaster on Falstad, and Valerie here on Tyrande left versus Sylvanas and Joanna. Jaina coming to this team fight. Sylvanas about to fall, though. There she goes. Jaina comes into this team fight, kills off Tyrande. Super late, Falstad is able to use Gus to get out here. They're not going to chase Joanna. Now, there's going to be a teleport here to Falstad, but the teleport was slightly ahead of Falstad's flight, and so she gets dumped off here. Though Falstad comes, she's able to blink heal to Falstad, and they live. You're probably wondering to yourself, though, what happened in that team fight? Was that a good team fight? Was that a bad team fight? It was actually a great trade for Squirtle Squad, because kills, thanks to the comeback mechanic in the game, are going to mean more to them because the experience bonus that they're getting it than Shadow Brotherhood are necessarily going to get out of that, which just is actually fantastic. The other thing that's good about that is you should see there, and this is really important too, right? They had no business winning that team fight in my eyes, and yet somehow, someway, they basically came out with a trade. And considering Diablo is going to come back a little bit faster, they actually come out a little bit ahead. So good work on them. Now they do have to fight off a lot of minions, and despite the fact that they did have an even trade kind of with that team fight, and they were able to catch up a little bit in levels, they still have a lot of lane problems here, as you can see, and just about every single lane just pushing down on them. And this is really bad, because even though they're, kind of in the midst of a comeback, they still have these lanes pushing, meaning that even if they get a turn-in, which they're not close to a turn-in at all, the Web Weavers are going to spawn in their base. They're not actually going to make it anywhere to do any damage. Meanwhile, Shadow Brotherhood, right, if they can manage to get those coins and they can turn them in, the pressure's back on Squirtle Squad. Squirtle Squad now is going to be playing together, playing really aggressive. You can see everyone really wants to kill those minions. But now, okay, so what's going on here, or what is about to happen, right? Squirtle Squad now, they can't fight. They shouldn't fight. Fighting is a bad idea for them, because, look, level 16 advantage on behalf of Shadow Brotherhood. Also, Brightwing is not here, can teleport in, but still, they're caught pretty off guard here. Diablo and Tyrande are not mounted up. Sonya and Falstad are in a pretty safe position, but, Diablo, Tyrande, they're a little bit in danger. Good bird dismounts, Sundering goes down, but the Gust neutralize it. Really good trade of Gust there. Gust will be up again before Sunder, so just perfect use of that ability defensively. Usually I like to see it used offensively, but you know, if you can use it beautifully like that, then hey, use it whenever you please. Once again, they're checking this boss, trying to make sure no funny stuff is going on. They're going to basically be completely focused now on catching up. You can see it slowly happening. They're almost at 16, and once they are, they're at that same talent tier. But they're gonna go up here. Just get some minion waves cleared once again. That's their focus. Now, you can see Shadow Brotherhood, they want to put pressure onto this keep. They have the pressure. They're going to do a little bit of damage here. Falstad going to fly in though. Now they realize they have to get some pressure. They have to kind of knock this away. Sylvanas' arrow does a decent job getting on, I think, 3 players right there. But once again, Falstad's Gust, it just came back up. He's able to push them away. Basically allows them to reset with that Shadow Stalk, getting the full duration off. Now, this allows them to kind of get these minions taken care of. Of course, this fort went down, or I'm sorry, this keep went down. So, you know, still was a good move on Shadow Brotherhood's part. Didn't cost them anything except ults, and if you could trade ults for a keep at any point in the game, that's a good choice. Still though, Shadow Brotherhood, or I'm sorry, Squirtle Squad, their entire goal is to get caught up, and that's exactly what they're trying to do here. Just putting all their effort into this, into getting caught up. On the other side, you can see down at the corner bottom of your screen, while Squirtle Squad has plenty of coins to turn in, and that's exactly where they're going now. Shadow Brotherhood has almost the number of coins that they need to turn in. Just a couple shy, but they have this nice little gank, right? This isn't good. This isn't good. And that bird was just used up here, so they don't really have... I'm sorry, it was used down here. But look at the trajectory of this bird, right? It's going to get vision here, it's going to get vision here, but it is going to completely miss this gank. So you can see the 2 highest gem are going to come up, and then they're going to dive in. Joanna gets basically the best start you can. Sundering going off into a Ring of Frost. Sonya and Diablo are going to get annihilated, but somehow in this trade they're going to manage to get Thrall in the wreckage there, which is actually a decent trade. Falstad and Brightwing are going to want to poke a little bit, but they need to actually get out of there. Now Diablo, keep in mind, had his trade up, so he's back in this fight, guys. So this is a 4v4, and they want to engage. They want to prevent the turn, and unfortunately they don't. Jaina gets it, but they still want this team fight. Here they go. Target is Uther. You can see a ton of damage going on him. Sylvanas comes through the back though, and Falstad's going to be able to blow her up. Falstad once again really strong. Jaina gets killed in the fire. Uther here, going to get chased down. You can see this is actually pretty sweet. This body blocking on Diablo is what you'd expect, but Brightwing was actually doing a good amount of body blocking there too. And that just makes me so happy for some reason. Damage goes out. Actually looks like Joanna's gonna get away. Uther drops that Divine Shield on her, but Diablo catches up into that beautiful combo, and she goes down, and all of a sudden, and basically nothing, in garbage time, basically, when it looked like Shadow Brotherhood was ready to put this game away, they managed to get just about a full team wipe. Just one person off getting a full team wipe. And they were down levels, keep in mind. And now look how close they are to tying them. Beautiful stuff. Yet, despite the fact that they turned that in, Jaina was able to get Web Weavers down, and look, once again, this is what I was talking about. Because they were unable to clear all these lanes fast enough, the Web Weavers now are pushing basically right on the keep, or where, if the keep's already down, they're looking at the towers and then looking at core. This is a disaster scenario, right? Because that advantage that Squirtle Squad just got doesn't really matter. Because look, the timers are counting down, and they're still dealing with this, even when they kill the Web Weavers. Look at where these waves are. Right? This is the only one that's anywhere close to far back, and honestly, it's still pushing past their 4. Not what you want to see. Now, in response, they're going to get this minion camp, but out of that advantage, they really didn't get anything, but what they are slowly getting is a level, is getting their levels evened out, which is really important, because the next big speed bump, or check, I guess, is level 20. So if they can get there at the same time, or before Shadow Brotherhood does, then they have a chance of being back in this game. Now, these minions are just going to be about these minions, so this is going to be basically moved down here. Sylvanas and Jaina are going to quickly get those giants. Once again, I don't think that they're worth a whole lot, but at this point there was nothing else that they really could do, so why not pick them up? Pay attention though, Squirtle Squad has a turn in, or has enough gems for a turn in rather, so that's what they want to do. They're going to be running in here. You're going to see Thrall is going to get annihilated, taking a ton of damage. Diablo's ult goes off, but Falstad goes down. Jaina ice blocks, looks like Khan's going to get her. A lot of damage going on basically everyone. There's a split focus here though on behalf of Squirtle Squad, so they can't really get the damage out that they want to get out, unfortunately. And you can see where they're going to be able to get that Jaina down. And Sonya's last-ditch effort is going to be able to get Uther down. It is going to be just about a full wipe. Actually, it is technically a full wipe for them. Diablo just had his trade up, so he is going to be back in this. Pretty brutal fight for them. And this is about the point in the game where everyone is saying GG. In chat, everyone is saying GG. I believe Josheb was saying GG. Yeah, right? And all those gems are gone, completely gone. This is a huge setback for Squirtle Squad, right? How could they possibly fight this? But you guys can see the time down here. Doesn't mean it's still not a surprise when you see it. Look at this. They have minions, they have catapults, they have giants, they have this huge push. They kill Diablo. They have a total of 3 seconds after they kill him before anyone else is going to come back, or Diablo's actually going to come back here. Falstad going to come up in a little bit too. Look at this though. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Beautiful play by Falstad. This gust is like perfectly timed. Or I'm sorry, perfectly aimed. Knocking Thrall into this keep, and just meaning that he's gonna get absolutely destroyed. Diablo doing a good job at keeping Sylvanas away. She actually has With the Wind, which is, or Evasive Fire, I'm sorry, which is going to allow her to get that speed boost, boost rather, and get out of there. If she didn't have that, she wouldn't get caught. You can see this did allow Shadow Brotherhood to get 220 a little bit before, but Squirtle Squad is right on their tail. They've somehow managed to save their core with 28% HP. Incredible stuff. Honestly, once again, this was supposed to be GG. It was not, though. Squirtle Squad's still in this game. But, gonna pause here once again. They are fighting. They're down a lot of gems. They only have 12 gems in their personal banks. Minion wave here. Minion wave here. Huge minion wave here. And Sonya was just dealing with the one that's down here. Really hard to get back into this, guys, but they're sure gonna try. You can see checking this boss once again. They're gonna clear this wave up. Gonna continue pushing. You're gonna see, because they actually have all those waves, all those really big waves, they're going to be able to pick up level 20 fairly quickly. They're gonna be able to pick up a lot of gems, kind of, even though, you know, they lost basically 70 gems in that last fight. They are actually going to be able to get caught up pretty fast, especially since they haven't had a turn in yet. Their turn in is only 50, so that's pretty good. Sonya here, this is something I almost missed it. I wanted to point it out though. Sonya comes pathing in here, and then comes loops around here with 7 gems, and you can see there was a gank here. I think the plan was on behalf of Shadow Brotherhood. They were expecting to see the rest, because they actually did not have vision. You can see they kind of split right through here. I think they expected one of two things. Either Sonya's here, we don't see the rest of them, we're going to wait for the big turn in, or a smaller turn in, and get the gank. Or they're basically waiting here, waiting for their entire team to pass so they can go and they can kind of backdoor. Now you're going to watch Squirtle Squad going to come up here, start doing damage to the boss. What they do right here by killing this wave tells me that they weren't really trying to backdoor there. They were instead trying to basically get a gank. They saw Sonya come up this way, but when they realize Sonya's not here and they haven't seen anyone, they kind of have an idea of what's going on. And one of the things that you can do when you have this much HP chunked out of core is you can just backdoor. You don't have to go for it, you can just threaten it. It's usually going to disrupt whatever it is they're doing. They know that they're probably going to get to this boss too late, right? So what do? You backdoor. They're going to have to be. But unfortunately for them, they made this choice a little bit slow. The Shadow Brotherhood should have probably made this move a little bit earlier. They probably could have done damage to core, if not gotten it, if they had forced that a little bit more aggressively. But they didn't. So Squirtle Squad was able to get the boss out of that, and they actually were able to come back. Now, excuse me. Boss is actually going to be able to get this for a low, which is good, but, you know, they kind of have to do something with this a little bit more than what they do. You can see they're mainly using it to get gems and clear waves. That isn't the worst choice in the world, though I would want to see them maybe even splitting up a little bit to do this. Obviously, you don't usually want to split up at this point in the game, but you can see they're starting to do that now, though. I don't agree with the split choice that they decided to make here. The whole thing is, though, is when you're this far behind, you need to clear these waves as fast as you possibly can, and versus the wave clear that Shadow Brotherhood has, it's just really hard to do that. Shadow Brotherhood, though, they are grouping up. They want to prevent the turn-in. They can see that they have 43 gems, so they're not quite there yet, but, you know, they don't want anything to really... They don't want to even let them get close to it. You can see that they're setting up in this bottom here. They want to prevent them from the turn-in. They also, looks like they want to force a little bit of a fight here. Squirtle Squad, you know, fighting for them at this point in the game is good, but also if they lose a fight, that could be game for them. On the other hand, Shadow Brotherhood, if they lose a fight, it's probably not going to be game for them. Could be close, but I don't think it's going to be game for them. They actually aggressively tried to go over this camp. I think this is a bit of a mistake. Squirtle Squad realizes it, and they go in hard here. Joanna takes a ton of damage. You're going to see Sylvanas take damage. That was a beautiful Sundering, but you can see the Storm Shield goes off on Squirtle Squad. Actually keeps them alive a little bit longer. Sylvanas goes down. Diablo is able to stay up. Uther goes down. Diablo finally goes down. And Thrall goes down, though, with him. Jaina goes down. And once again, Squirtle Squad, all of a sudden, have pretty big team wipe. Uther respawns here thanks to Redemption. There's going to be a bit of a chase. Now they have a chance to get a turn-in in. But remember what we were talking about earlier, my friends. Look at where these spiders are going to spawn. One's going to spawn here, because that's where that wave is, here, and here. Honestly, going to pause this for a second. While I understand the strategic importance of this, personally, I think I would like this map a little bit better. I think it'd be less snowbally if no matter what, the spiders spawned here every single time, and maybe they don't lose timer until they get past the gate or something. I don't know. Just, it makes this game really snowbally, especially when you're playing against a team that has drafted like Shadow Brotherhood. Obviously, that's intentional, but I don't know. I feel like it's really snowbally, and I think they could do a little change for that. Either way, they do have a turn-in, so they can get some pressure out here, and that's what they're going to try and do. But, once again, I'm repeating myself a lot, but that's because it's such an important concept that a lot of people miss. The only web weaver that's going to be able to do anything is right here, and so of course... Right, that's where they're going to be. That's where Shadow Brotherhood is probably going to try and go and take care of it first. Squirtle Squad, smartly knowing that that's a good distraction, go up here to this top keep, and they're going to put out a lot of pressure here. They are actually going to be able to take down this keep. They do a ton of damage to it really, really quickly. They do have that lower ability. It looks like it's going to survive, but Tirana is going to sneak in and drop an arrow right on the border, which is going to take it down, and then they're going to be able to back out here just in time to meet up with their own web weavers. Now they're gonna go down to this middle one, get some towers out of this. I do not remember if they get this fort actually. I think they actually do. Pretty sure that they do. So Vanna's the only one defending. You can see they actually go up here to take down that web weaver. I don't actually feel that was a smart decision on their part, as it was going to die to the timer anyway. Sylvanas, though, gets caught out here, gets absolutely annihilated. I'm not quite sure why Sylvanas made that play. Chris Elo, usually a fantastic player and a fantastic Sylvanas, tends to be the most aggressive player in Shadow Brotherhood, though, and does get taken down for it. Squirtle Squad, though, staying really far here. They want to get as much out of this as they possibly can, which is a good call. They're playing the long game, playing for the next follow-up, and, you know, once again, the waves are right here, so they're picking up gems at the same time. They really need to be getting out of here, though, and they are kind of getting caught a little bit. Joanna catches a bunch. Diablo uses his ult. You're going to see a bunch of damage go up. They're going to, once again, try and leave. You can see Sonya uses Ancient Spear to try and get away there. Joanna, though, wants to extend this fight, probably more than she should. But you can see Thrall's ult, sundering them, does a ton of damage into this Ring of Frost, which catches Sonya and Diablo, as well as Tyrande. But still, they aren't able to get in position to take anyone down, and without Sylvanas, honestly, if Sylvanas is up there, she had her arrow up, so I think that would have been an entirely different team fight. But they're able to actually back here. Now, This is not something that you should ever do. This is like the tauntiest taunt back Hearthstone that you could basically do in Heroes of the Storm. Thrall and Uther are right here. But you can see it was a little bit of a taunt. Diablo cancels it and then charges after Thrall. They start doing damage. Uther gets stuck in this middle. They put a lot of damage on him. They're able to get him. Storm Shield saves their butt from a really good blizzard on Jaina's part. And actually, Uther's chase there does a ton of damage. His redemption happened to be down, so he's going back to the Nexus for quite a while. Now, they still want to extend this fight. Now, this isn't the smartest thing in the world. And unfortunately, you can see they're all taking a ton of damage here, but they really want this. And honestly, while it's probably not the smartest play, it is the super aggressive play. And considering how far down they are, I kind of like it. I kind of do like it. A lot of damage going out here. Tyrande blows Shadowstalk, which is going to allow Falsehead to escape. Diablo, I do not believe, is lucky, or is as lucky. So he goes down. He has picked at level 20 ult, where you get Apocalypse when you die. Usually don't see that. Usually see, I forget what it's called, actually, off the top of my head. The Health Leech one. Usually that's what you see, but honestly, I can see why he picked that. Diablo died a lot this game, so, you know, why not throw the dying ult in there? You can see they really don't have enough time to do much else, so they're picking up their mercenary camp up here. Seems like they were thinking about boss, but the combination of the vision from this wave and the arrow prevents them from doing it. Instead, they're going for the safe turn-in. It's not going to give them Web Weavers again, but it's a good safe call. At this point, Squirrel Squad, they still want to clear these waves. This is still a problem. You know, they managed to kind of push them out a little bit farther, but still, once again, Shadow Brotherhood, from beginning to end game, they just have a lot of, losing my train of thought. They have a lot of wave clear, and so it's going to be really hard to win that fight. They kind of have to stick together and just do it as if it's the early game for a 1-1 strategy, except just make it 5-0-0, I guess. That's dumb. But that's what they need to do. They need to stick together as 5 and clear waves just as fast as they possibly can. Basically the strategy that they have to do. Does look like they're going to be turning in more gems here, but they don't have enough quite yet. This is going to allow Squirrel Squad more time to get more waves down, which is exactly what they need to do and what they need to be doing here. But ideally, they do actually need to be getting a turn into their own, and they need to be coming up, picking up coins of their own. And while they do have 43, they need a few more to force a turn in, and that basically is should be their whole strategy. Because if they can get another turn in, if they can get something going, this fort isn't really impressive. But if they can have the waves pushed up at least halfway, they can get a good enough Web Weaver push where Shadow Brotherhood would not be able to backdoor. They would have to defend it, and if they were able to get a team wipe there, they might be able to win the game. Squirrel Squad might be able to win the game. On the other hand, Shadow Brotherhood, in order to win this game, they basically need to do one of two things. They need to either win a big team fight, that wins them the game. They need to capitalize on any mistake that of positioning that Squirrel Squad does, because if they go for a bad boss, if they go for a bad turn-in, they can completely backdoor them, and this isn't a lot of shields to get through, especially at 27 minutes into a game. It's just really not that much. Squirrel Squad continuing to owl this boss here. They see that they're not on it. They have a pretty good idea of what they're going to be doing, and that is turning in. And so they know they need to push up the goaltend a little bit harder. They cannot allow a turn-in. That would be the end for them. They are going to try and get a turn-in of their own here. And you're going to see they are going to just barely not be able to get it. Honestly, Joanna canceled that. I think she could have gotten it if it turned in, and honestly, that might turn things around here. The big team fight, though, you can see Thrall takes a lot of damage. He's able to get Divine Shielded out. This is actually going to be a bit of a win for Shadow Brotherhood, as while they do not get a kill here, they do not lose anyone, and they just really trade an ult. Sonya now can finish her turn-in. Once again, though, look at where these lanes have actually gotten. These giants are doing a significant amount of damage, especially with this push. Everyone has to back in order for this defense not to fail. But these Web Weavers that Squirrel Squad has picked up are basically just going to be pushing lanes, but they're not going to even have a chance in hell of getting to a structure. That's really, really bad. Especially with like the little bit of advances that they pushed. It's just that the wave clear from Shadow Brotherhood is too strong. Also worth pointing out that not having catapults versus catapults is really, really difficult. Those catapults do a ton of damage to minions. Just, once again, the snowball factor on this map is just so high. You can see here, though, gonna get spotted out by this owl. They were waiting here to see, actually, if they could probably sneak around a back door, or if they could get an ambush. Not going to happen. Squirrel Squad, on the other hand, going to play aggressive as they can, but there's really not a whole lot you can see already. This isn't from anything else, just time. Getting delayed by those waves. This is literally going to be a complete waste for them. So what they're going to try and do with it is force a little bit of a team fight, use this as a distraction. Unfortunately for them, Shadow Brotherhood is a little bit too smart to fall for that bait this time around. You can see Chrissy Low on Sylvanas trying to poke up a little bit to try and spread her curse. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Both teams too smart for this, though. This is where Squirtle Squad is going to make their move. They are going to go for boss. Now, Shadow Brotherhood did not see them go for boss, though they have a feeling, as they know they're not clearing any of these lanes because they don't see them there. They doubt that they're going here, and this is what gives it away. Actually, I don't believe that they see that. They're going to get this turn in, though, right? No goaltending because they were all on boss. Now, with Web Weavers coming down, right, they're still staying here. At this point, they need to abandon this. You can see Sonya starting to. They have a feeling of what's happening, and yep, it is exactly what you think it is. They're on core. Despite Squirtle Squad's valiant almost comeback, that one mistake going for the boss there was all Shadow Brotherhood needed to go in and win this game. For those of you that did not see this live, that did not watch the Chair League game about this game, I'm sorry. I probably baited you into thinking that Shadow Brotherhood actually lost this game, but they did not. They won this game. And I think it's for two reasons. Yeah, it is really snowbally, honestly. One of the reasons why, there's a couple of reasons why this map is so snowbally. First off, that early game, remember what we were talking about? It was a great game. The second game in the series is the same way, by the way. It's actually in the previous videos in the channel. If you go and look, you can actually see it's somewhere in there. After this game, they play them again, and it's like the same deal. Squirtle Squad is so Squirtle Squad is so far behind, and somehow they manage to climb back, but it's just not enough. It's just not enough there, and they end up losing that game. Really, really a shame. But what really makes this map snowbally is, like I said, early on in the draft, right, Shadow Brotherhood drafted for the big wave clear. They prioritized that even over, arguably, the big team fight. They certainly had potential combos there, but their whole focus was getting the waves down and clearing the waves as fast as they possibly could. And that's exactly what they did. That was their whole focus in this game, was clearing these waves fast, clearing the waves fast. Because early on, remember that early trade, and I said that what gave Shadow Brotherhood the lead was not the kills, but how fast they cleared that wave. When you clear the wave fast, I actually don't know how fast this is going to be if I just jump to the beginning. We'll see how fast that loads. Oh, wow. That was actually a lot faster than I thought it was. We're going to jump to that so you can see it. Speed this up. Alright. So, going back to this little bit here, just watch how fast Shadow Brotherhood clear this wave, and watch their reaction out of Squirtle Squad. This wave's dead. This wave's dead. These minions are still alive that Squirtle Squad has to take care of. They don't have to be here. The only reason that they're here is because they think they can get a kill in Diablo. Right? As soon as that doesn't look likely, they're out. They're going to rotate up here. Thrall's going to rotate down here. This is typical strategy is 4-1-1, so you have 4 people up here, and then you send 1 person down bottom. Usually your best laner, so this is where Zagara goes, this is where Thrall goes. This is where, you know, if Joanna happens to be your only one, then where Joanna would go or Sylvanas goes. Of course, they have all of that in their team, and so Thrall draws that stick and goes down there. Thrall also going to do a great job against Brightwing. Also, always smart when you have the option to keep Sylvanas in the group that's going to be rotating around, because you can kill these faster, and that's exactly what they do. Look at that. Look how fast they kill those, right? And now that they have, Thrall can go down here. They can go down here, back up Thrall, get this wave, where they can sit here, they can bully this, they can do whatever they want. And this is basically what happens during the whole game. That same process repeats itself. And from that point on, Squirtle Squad just isn't able to get that momentum, right? Because, right, from this point on, they have to split apart. They're basically just trying to chase Shadow Brotherhood down to try and get that momentum back, and they just can't do it. So even though Squirtle Squad has those valiant fights in there, right? They really 3 levels down, almost 4 levels down, they still manage to win the team fight. Because of just how snowbally this map is, if you work your minions this quickly, as quickly as Shadow Brotherhood is, there's just not a whole lot you can do. You know, a lot of people always think that Heroes of the Storm is all about, you know, the big team fights, and absolutely, you know, if Squirtle Squad won a big team fight late in that game, just another one, and Shadow Brotherhood had misplayed again, and they happened to get that, then, you know, that's it. Yeah, when you can out-rotate, it is a good idea to go 3-1-1 and try basically to just gank as you can. But honestly, I don't even know if that would have worked too well for Squirtle Squad. I think that's what they wanted to do here. And you can see that's kind of what they were setting up for. But I just don't think that they quite had it. I think Falstad does a lot of damage. I think Diablo, Tyrande, Falstad, I think this is basically just really, really strong. But, you know, I don't think Diablo's damage is really high, but his maneuverability and his just the fact that he can get caught, especially by the kind of team that Shadow Brotherhood is, or the kind of comp that Shadow Brotherhood is running, I honestly think that Muradin would have been a better pick, playing the Tyrande into the Muradin instead of playing the Tyrande into the Diablo. I think Diablo just happened to be their comfort pick. I still think that Muradin would have been better for the sort of really aggressive rotation. With that said, I think that Squirtle Squad's plan to start this game was they thought they legitimately could they could clear waves as fast as Shadow Brotherhood could, even with Sylvanas, even with Jaina, even with Joanna. I think, you know, they really thought they could do it because that's how they approached the game from the very beginning. And it's just not kind of what happened. But you can see, like, I don't know, that's kind of like the beginning and end of this game. If you're getting out-rotated this hard, this early in this map, and you can't adjust and stop it effectively, you're gonna have a bad time. And Squirtle Squad has a bad time. And that's, you know, that's basically the summary of the game. And it's one of those things that I think, you know, if you're watching this and you're in Chair League next season, or you're in Heroes of the Dorm. I saw actually a lot of people follow me lately on Twitter, and a couple people messaged me saying that they'd be tuning in or watching the VOD. That's basically, you know, don't necessarily draft purely for the team fight on a map like this. Instead, think about the importance of that wave clear. This is why Zagara is so strong here. The vision's really important too, by the way. Zagara is strong for like 3 reasons on this map. But, you know, Sylvanas is actually, I think, underrated, like, top pick. I don't think she earns a number 1 pick, but I think if you already have, like, the strongest meta heroes down, I think picking up a Sylvanas as your 5th or your 4th here is a good call, especially if you have a good Sylvanas player. I also think Joanna was a good call on Shadow Brotherhood. Just smart, a really smart draft on behalf of Shadow Brotherhood. But yeah, I think that just about sums this game up. Was there something? Oh, there was something that I wanted to talk about. 2 other things I wanted to talk about. The structures. One of the other reasons why Shadow Brotherhood has such an easy time bullying Squirtle Squad is structures are really important. When thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. I appreciate it a lot. If you aren't already following the channel, it's really great. And yeah, please play Sylvanas. Sylvanas is fantastic. But yeah, no, one of the things I want to point out is structures are just like so important. So many people, when they get an advantage, their mindset is, okay, we got an advantage, let's get a gank. Or we got an advantage, okay, let's clear some more waves. Or we got an advantage, let's get a minion camp, right? Don't think about that so much. Think about what structure, can we pick up structure off safely? If the answer is yes, you go for the structure every single time. Because structures win you Heroes of the Storm. That's just what it is. So many times I see people, and I say this, I've said this in like the shorter amateur hours, but so many times people go for the structures, or people don't go for the structures, and they go for the minion camp, or they go for the boss. The boss is just a tool to get the structures, so don't get the boss, right? Instead, go for those structures, especially when you have Sylvanas. The structures are basically yours. Anytime you have an advantage, take a structure. And that's exactly what Shadow Brotherhood did. And by getting those structures, you make it even more snowbally. Because that's less resistance that minions are going to face. It's more, or it means that they're going to push a little bit deeper. And later in the game, when you're talking about keeps, well, drop a keep, all of a sudden you're spawning catapults. Right? This is exactly what you want to do. It just makes the game so much more snowbally. Basically, never underestimate the value of taking out a structure. The other thing I want to talk about, though, really quickly, is overconfidence. Shadow Brotherhood absolutely should have stomped over the Squirtle Squad. Squirtle Squad is a very good team, don't get me wrong. Both of these teams are in the 3,000s above in MMR, and both teams have players, if not their whole team, in the top 200, team league in North America, and a couple of them actually show up in the top 200 Hero League. And so these are not bad players that are playing here, right? But, you know, I don't know if you've seen some of the games sometimes that go back and forth between like Deventic or Cloud9. Sometimes you just start really strong because, you know, in this case, Shadow Brotherhood had really strong early game comp. Squirtle Squad, not so much. I still think their comp was pretty strong early game, but not quite as strong as Shadow Brotherhood's. But you have, and I honestly don't think, I take that back. I don't really think that Shadow Brotherhood's comp was super strong early game. But anyway, a lot of teams, when they have that really good early game, they have this tendency to get really super overconfident. And when they get overconfident, they make silly mistakes. And Shadow Brotherhood made a lot of silly mistakes. Chrysilo, the Sylvanas player in Shadow Brotherhood, is actually, I believe, is definitely one of the people on both lists. Very good player. I have watched them play a lot. Have tons of things to say about them. But like you saw in that point right here where like they were defending this by themselves versus 4 people, got completely caught out and destroyed. Thrall early on gets caught out and destroyed. And both team fights that they lose that are like totally unexpected when they're down a level, it's mostly just really rudimentary positioning errors, and also outside of positioning errors, just not focusing a target. They just got so cocky when they really shouldn't have. And Squirtle Squad is not the team you want to do that against. They kind of showed Shadow Brotherhood that like, okay, so you want to get cocky, that's fine, but we're going to take advantage of that. And they actually managed to actually get the level lead at the end of this game. They did a fantastic job. Squirtle Squad deserves, even though they lost the series 2-0, it was such a good series. It was such a good game by them. If we had a losers bracket, I honestly think that they would have made it all the way up because they just played so strong in every other game that I saw with them in the season. I think they are a great team, and they're going to be doing probably a lot in the next season of Cheer League. Shadow Brotherhood also, just to end out here, Shadow Brotherhood is a fantastic team. They came in second. They lost in the grand finals of Cheer League. It was a pretty brutal series, and they just kind of seemed like they were put off the whole time. I think they were just honestly tired. I think it was the first day that they really had played an all-day tournament, and they really did play all day. They played from 10 a.m. to about 5. So, you know, putting in a full day's work in Heroes of the Storm is pretty rough, and they certainly did that. I think it kind of showed. Especially because early on, most of their series were like three-game series. So like they just, I don't know. I definitely think that they had a hard road to the finals. with that said, I believe that that's it for Amateur Hour Live this week. I'm going to thank everyone that did show up. I'm going to thank you so much for tuning in. It means a lot to me that you guys decide to come and watch this stream. Follow Josheb and I on YouTube. And speaking of which, if you aren't already following us, please do go to youtube.com/JoshebGaming. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. If you're not following the channel on Twitch, please do so with that. You can also follow me on Twitter. You can see that it's like over there-ish. But yeah, CM Horniak, that's who I am. You can see any kind of info or updates about the stream. And also, if you missed early on any of this game, if you missed this game or early on in this analysis, you will be able to find this tomorrow on YouTube. I will have it up there. So if you missed anything, you can watch it. And also, I would appreciate it if you spread the good word of this channel and this kind of show. I want to keep doing this. You know, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, especially when I get feedback and people say the wonderful things that y'all are saying about me right now. I really do appreciate it. Really, it means a lot. But that's it for right now. Yes, it is only a matter of time for Chair League to pick up. Thank you so much for tuning in, Katrina. I see you everywhere. You're one of the earliest supporters of Josheb and I, so we both appreciate that a whole lot. Chair League actually had close to 400 people watching the finals, which is not so bad because we were going up against the Heroes Rising. We should do a stream where we play with viewers. Actually, Josheb, I'm going to actually kind of make fun of him a little bit now, since I don't even know if he's watching this. But he's actually been playing a lot of the Division, so he hasn't been putting a lot of time in Heroes of the Storm, though I would love to actually have a viewer stream going. I think that would be great. Yeah. Right. Oh, next season, 4,000. Yeah, I would love that. I would absolutely love that. I would honestly like to start streaming in earnest at every night at 10. I actually would really like to do that. I think I might start doing it soon. This show is kind of me testing the waters. I might take over. I might take over Josheb's stream while he's playing the Division. But in the meantime, please do follow us on Twitter. If you have any suggestions, by the way, for other stuff, right? He is a slacker. But if you have any suggestions for stuff that you would like us to do, like a viewer stream or anything like that, please let me know. And once again, please, if you can do me a favor and you can kind of spread the good word of Chair League and also spread the good word of the Amateur Hour Live, I would appreciate that. Not a lot of people know about this. I tried my best to get the word out on Reddit last week. I tried to do my best on getting the word out for Twitter. But yeah, no, it's a little bit hard. Heroes of the Storm isn't exactly the biggest community. I was really impressed with the 400 people that were watching the Chair League finals because we were up against like so many things going on. Yeah, hero role spotlights. I'm thinking about doing that next. I'm actually thinking about, since I know a couple of you are frequent viewers, the schedule for Amateur Hour Live is 10 Eastern on Wednesday. 10 Eastern, yeah, at 10 p.m. that is. I haven't been doing this for the last 12 hours. But one of the things that I have been thinking of is to actually replace the Amateur Hour, the one that I do during the week, replacing the Amateur Hour with the role spotlight sort of thing, and then making the Amateur Hour like an actual Amateur Hour, because to be perfectly honest, a lot more people actually liked the VOD than I expected, and really, this is what I would be talking about. I would just condense a little bit of this, but really, I feel like it's getting to the point where it's really difficult for me to get in depth, especially because, Dread basically is doing his analysis, and there's a couple other people that are coming out doing their analysis, and I don't feel like I can get that level of analysis into like 5 to 10 minutes anymore. I think if I really try and squeeze everything in, but I feel like the quality of the videos, oh man, I really appreciate that. I'm still like really used to. This is only like the second time that I've ever streamed, by myself. And also, it's really nice to have the commentary and the back and forth with people that are watching the stream, rather than like, there's always questions that people have about this kind of thing. So yeah, I think I might do that. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with doing the amateur stuff. I might do some pro analysis, only because I watch the pro games as much as you guys probably do. It's just that the amateur stuff with Chair League, I know I was in talks, or I just started talking with Super a little bit to maybe do something like this, like a end of the week recap, maybe in season 2 of Chair League, where we just break something down on like Sunday night or something, basically like this, or we just show highlights. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of the strategy that we're going for. There is a lot of stuff in the works though. Here's the Storm is still like a really, really young community, and like one of the things that kind of keeps me going is, even though like we don't have, compared to like some of the other games out there, not a lot of people are watching the stream, not a lot of people are on the YouTube channel or whatever, but for Heroes of the Storm, for a pretty small community, I'm pretty happy with what we have going. And it definitely seems like when people find us and when people do watch us and pay attention to our content, that they do like it. So I'm all about that. Though I do have to say, I'm hoping to get the word out there a little bit more with the Heroes of the Dorm stuff. I do want to do some focuses on that. I was a big fan of that tournament last year. I wish I could cast it. Josheb got to cast the Heroes Regionals, and all I want to do is cast something like that myself. Yeah, actually, both League and Dota, well, Dota's its own thing, and League's its own thing, but they both kind of started off slow. I think one of the things to actually look into, as far as things that started out slow, is, and I hope it's not this long, but Counter-Strike, believe it or not, I played semi-professional Counter-Strike. Like, I don't know what the equivalent would be in Heroes of the Storm, but I played at a pretty high level of Counter-Strike for a while, a long time ago, and I've been playing Counter-Strike for literally, I think, like 17 years now, 16, 17 years, and Counter-Strike has been, like, selectively big, but now it's, like, huge. Like, Global Offensive is huge, and I don't play Global Offensive, but and I honestly haven't played Counter-Strike in probably like 4 or 5 years, but like that took forever to take off. Cal Istraz, I only made it to Cal M. I wasn't gonna start talking about Cal I, because like when you talk about and you talk about the Cyber Athletic Amateur League, some people don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, Cal, the original Chair League, when you think about it that way. That's actually what I wanted. That's what I'm hoping to happen, that it becomes Cal, except a better run. But regardless, going past that, that's the hope. I think Chair League has like a great shot at actually making Heroes of the Storm. Yeah, right. I'm only 26, but I feel so old. It's so weird. But honest to God, I think that Heroes of the Storm is going to be on the rise. I see a lot of promise in this game. I think it's a slow grower, but I think like every time that there's a lot of, I don't know if you guys know this, if you can actually see, this is the last thing before I'm gonna be off the air, but if you can go to like Reddit trackers, if you like Google like subreddit tracker or something, I forget what it's called, but it shows you the amount of subscribers that a subreddit picks up. If you look at that, and then you look at last year around April, when the Heroes of the Dorm tournament was going on last year, when the Heroes of the Dorm tournament made it onto ESPN2, the surge in subscribers to the Heroes of the Storm subreddit was massive. There's like a serious spike there, and it just kind of shot up for 2 months after that, and then it leveled off. So I'm thinking that the Heroes of the Dorm tournament is actually going to be just as big. And I think it's honestly, just being on ESPN3 and ESPN2 is like such a big deal. It introduces so many people to the game that otherwise wouldn't be introduced to the game. But yeah, no. I'm glad you guys enjoyed this stream. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it, especially since I am starting to see regular faces all the time. It means a lot to me. If you like the stream also, or you have any kind of heads up about the stream or anything along those lines, then please send me a message on Twitter, shoot me a message, and let me know. Oh wow, I actually have not heard that. That's awesome. Also, are you a teacher, Katrina? Because I actually, for 2 years, I was an adjunct professor. I taught English before I switched jobs because the pay is really bad. And that's just the truth. But, not that the pay is that much better for you. It sucks to be a teacher, though. It is. I really do miss it, which is one of the reasons why I like doing this. It allows me to get that out of my system, which is something that will never leave. But that is it for tonight. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it so much. So much. And I hope you guys... Oh yeah, Opeth Hive. This is my Opeth t-shirt. I'm going to see them in New York City in October. I actually, believe it or not, I swear to God, I'm enjoying this too much. I actually have this on my desk, believe it or not. I don't know, that's actually not going to show up really well with the green screen, I don't think. I'll give it a shot. I don't know how well that worked, but that's my VIP pass to the last Opeth show that I went to, because me and my wife are obsessed with Opeth, and we met because of Opeth. And we've met the band like 3 or 4 times, and they're really awesome. If you're an Opeth fan, they're actually really cool. They're not dicks in the least. They'll sit down and they'll talk to you for a long time about their music. They're really all so cool guys. But yeah, I love them. I have every Opeth album signed. By far my favorite band. And if you like that kind of music, what songs do they play live? They play basically like a little bit of their entire catalog. I saw them at the last show I went was at the Beacon Theater in New York City, and that's when they did Ghost Referees all the way through, which is my favorite album, which was fantastic. But then they played in their second set like a scattering of a bunch of different albums. It was really great. It was really cool. It was just so incredible. But they're going to be playing at Radio City Music Hall, which I'm so psyched for. That's awesome. But yeah, they're really cool guys. And as I was saying, just getting one last plug out here before I go off the air, if you do dig that kind of music, and if you like progressive rock, I'm going to be probably instead of playing drum and bass, like Josheb does, I'm actually going to be playing songs from my wife's band, who is a progressive rock band. Progressive rock / light metal. Very much in the style of Yes, though a little bit more modern. But they're awesome. But they're finishing up their EP actually right now. It sounds phenomenal. It's awesome. But I'm going to have that as the waiting music, so everyone can then buy her album and make her really happy. But they don't currently have a preview up at this very moment. But as soon as they do, you'll know, because I'll be plugging the shit out of that thing 24/7. I'm going to make my wife a rock star. It's going to be real. I'm going to be the best Heroes caster you've ever seen, and my wife's going to be a rock star. Things are going to be awesome. But I have a couple things I need to do before I go to bed, so I'm going to be starting the stream once again for the last time, I promise. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I can't wait to see you guys next week. It'll be, once again, Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Hopefully I'll be able to start on the dot next week. But yeah, thank you so much once again. I'll see you guys later.